Welcome to this episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. I'm Eric.
And I'm Angie.
We are married with a ton of kids.
We have 6 kids total. He has 3 and I have 3.
My name's Hallie and I love riding horses.
I'm Lexi and I love agriculture.
My name's Carter and I love eating.
My name's Chase and I love lifting weights.
My name's Summer and I love spending my parents' money.
I'm Dane and I love baseball.
Our show is about our blended, blessed, and always a mess life. And our hope is if you find yourself in the same situation we are in, that by sharing our story, all the fun and all the mess, the challenges we are experiencing, it will give you some inspirations, laughs, and community, knowing you are not alone in this mess.
We appreciate you spending time with us. Let's dive in.
Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess, where we celebrated our second CrewVersary. That's what we call it. It's not an anniversary. It's a CrewVersary. I think we joked in an earlier podcast. We forgot about it. We've had a few things going on.
Few distractions.
Yeah. And we laughed about it. It's like that happens you're 15, 19, 20 years into a marriage. And it's not that there's anything wrong with our marriage, but we lost a child and it's been hard. And one day we looked up like, oh, we've been married 2 years in about 2 weeks. So we made the best of it with our family and our kids. And it's been I think this week's maybe been better than last week. It's hard. I mean, everything kind of runs together right now. But
there's highs and lows.
Highs and lows, painful beauty, and that's what we do.
I did have several people ask, like, I hope you guys were able to celebrate your anniversary. Well, no. No, we
we did go to dinner this week together, just you and I, and that might be the first time since Hallie passed.
Yeah.
I think you and I have gone to dinner, and that was kind of a mini celebration, and we're going to go on a trip in a couple of weeks for a few days, but no, I mean, and I think part of it is because the day was so much about all 8 of us.
Just hard. I know. That's what I think people naturally think when you celebrate your anniversary, it's about the husband and wife, and that's not what it is for us. It is CrewVersary.
All 8 of us.
All 8 of us. And so it's our first CrewVersary without Hallie.
And I remember specifically, like that morning and that day, all the kids were excited. We're getting married. But I can still hear Hallie multiple times. The oldest child, the one you didn't think wanted us to get married, if any of them didn't, right? Because it's just how it is, right?
She bugged the system all the time.
Yeah. And she was continuously like, we're getting married. We're getting married.
It was such a joy-filled day that I think is forever etched in everybody's mind. Summer the other day said, can we redo the wedding? But this time, can we be in Hawaii? And I would do my hair and makeup differently. And I'm like, well, we should just renew our vows every 5 years and just have a new wedding at a new place.
I love it.
And she's like, do people do that? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, what's different is it's not their whole crew and their kids. Not, it's normally like husband and wife only, but we're different. And so I'm like, we'll plan a 5-year, renew our vows as a crew.
You made a beautiful post on our Blended, Blessed, Always a Mess page on our CrewVersary, and I hope people will go and check it out because there's several pictures on there. One of them is Hallie looking out the window when me and the boys pulled up to the venue, and it's one of my all-time favorite pictures of her because she was so happy and proud and excited of how good her brothers looked when they got there.
Yeah.
And you were there. You would know
Oh, my
better
gosh. I knew everybody was excited about getting married, but it was not until that day that we saw how joyful everybody was and how excited they were. And so we had surprises the whole day. That was one of them. Like, we're in a separate building getting ready, us girls. And when you guys pulled up, they all went to the window and were like, oh, my God, they look so handsome. I mean, they were so stoked when you guys pulled in and got out of the car. But that moment was captured, and you just see the joy on Hallie's face. All the kids were excited. You can't see Summer. She's on the other side of her. And Lexi is kind of a little bit further back, but they all were looking out the window.
Yeah, I mean, it
was hard Monday. We didn't really celebrate. My kiddos had track, and
Carter had baseball.
And so I think I was gone all day. we got back home at like 8:30.
Yeah.
Eric gave me a super sweet gift. I didn't give him shit. I did get you
I
a
had
gift that
help
you
from
love.
your sister Jessie. Okay, I did reach out, and Jessie gave me some ideas. She was very helpful.
Know if I've actually seen this multiple times, but unless you're struggling with grief, your feed isn't filled with grief things like mine. Like I literally cannot pull up social media without some grief.
It's like
quote.
They know you. They know where you're at in life.
They know I'm not in a good spot. But I have seen this description multiple times, and I love it. And so Eric had he had me open up this first kind of, who put that together? It was so good.
Oh, I had my graphic designer at work, Tim, put that together.
Yeah, so I'll just read it because it's a picture of Hallie, and it just says, "Did you know? An oyster that has not been wounded in any way does not produce pearls. A pearl is a healed wound. Pearls are a product of pain, the result of a foreign or unwanted substance entering the oyster, such as a parasite or a grain of sand. The inside of an oyster shell is a shiny substance called nacre." I don't know if you said that right.
Nacre.
There you go. When a grain of sand enters, the
Nacre.
cells go to work and cover the grain of sand with layers and more layers to protect the defenseless body from the oyster. As a result, a beautiful pearl is formed. The more the pearls, the more valuable. God never allows pain without a purpose. What if your greatest ministry to others comes out of your greatest hurt or deepest wounds? The hard things we may be going through now are really nothing in comparison to the glory that will be revealed in us later.
Beautiful.
It was
Jessie
really
sent
cool.
me the poem.
And then he gave me some pearls.
And I went to work from there and got some pearls.
And I got him a rain gauge because he's an old man
She got me a rain gauge.
that he broke.
I got her a string of pearls. She got me a rain gauge. And I broke it when I was trying to get it out. I broke it. I broke the darn thing. So darn it. I was bummed about that. I always wanted a rain gauge. I
would
really
never
excited.
bought it. Like, I don't want a rain gauge sitting around my house. But then I'm just kind of in an effort mode of like, who gives a shit if we have a rain gauge sitting outside?
We're not keeping score right now, right? There was pearls and a rain gauge.
But he is way ahead of me. I suck this year.
I actually loved my rain gauge.
I'm in a sucky season.
I loved my rain gauge.
I knew you would like it.
I really did. So that was how we spent the CrewVersary. And we're going to dive into it. And as we go today, we're going to share with you some of the surprises throughout that day and actually the vows that Angie and I shared together before we wrap today. But I think what marriage really is we celebrate 2 years of marriage. And Angie and I have both been married before. That's how this podcast started. It's a blended podcast. Is that we've learned what doesn't work in marriage. We've learned how hard it can be. And since Hallie has passed, our big color has been green. All the different green hearts and orbs that show up from time to time. And so there's a lot of green lights that we can really look to in our relationship. Just in the last couple of weeks, we aired Angie's interview with our friend Heather Petty about red flags in relationships. Well, there are also green flags that you should look for when you start dating or you're in a marriage or a relationship. What are those green flags? What are the things that are good, green lights, as you start to deepen a relationship with somebody? And we're in a season right now that could easily turn red. But I do think we're very much working to keep the lights green.
Yeah, it's a great point. And, you and I were just we've actually been sitting in our podcast recording room for like 30 minutes before we could even get started, just sitting in the suck and the emotion and sharing about our day. But
time out. Yes, that's 100% what happened. Our room has changed since we recorded last. It was strictly like some Cardinals baseball stuff that I loved. And as we have been, going through all the stuff from Hallie's Celebration of Life, we decided we would bring all of these great pictures of Hallie into the recording studio. And I've not sat down in here since we brought all of them in. And so they came in, and I'm just surrounded and overwhelmed by photos of our beautiful daughter, who I miss so very much. And it has been really hard to sit in here, right?
Yeah.
And Angie's like, well, we'll just take him out. No, we're not going to take him out. I love her. I want her to be in this room. I just need a minute.
It's hard to see pictures of her.
I just need a minute to adjust to all of the photos of her in here. And I want that because I miss her. I miss her.
It's hard for me to look at pictures too. It just takes my breath away because I still can't believe that she's not here. But then I don't want to not look at her pictures either.
I agree.
So it's just such a confliction. So what I would say is that, man, it's easy to love when things are easy.
Yep.
And everything in life feels like it's going the right way. And we had
wind in your sails.
Oh my gosh. We were just talking about Eric shared with me before we got started of Old Dominion has a new song out, and
it's called Memory Lane.
And he was just sharing with me about the song and what it means. And, he was like, if I could pause time, basically, I would go back to when we just moved into the house and we had all the kids together. And that was it's so easy to love and be so happy when everything feels like it's going right. But that is not reality. And you are going to have struggles in life. And you're going to get the wind knocked out of you. And you're going to get knocked down. So what do you need in a relationship? What does that look like? What are the green lights? Eric, I want your perspective on this too. But, for me, when I think about where we sit right now in this worst possible time, a huge green flag for me when I think about our relationship is truly wanting what's best for the other person and being able to put your own needs aside, right? And it's hard when we are both struggling to still try to show up for the other person. Right now, you're way better at this than what I am. But I think I will do that for you, and there's going to be seasons in life that you may struggle more than me. And knowing that the other person will do that for you is a huge green flag.
Yeah. Marriage is super hard. And in my Bible study today, we were just talking about 1 Peter. And there's a part of them about husbands and wives loving each other. And it does, biblically, it kind of goes against what we're taught right now. But I do think it's what you and I are doing. I think we're doing it well in a green flag way. Right now, it's so much about submitting to each other. And right now, everybody in life wants to take what's theirs more so. And if I'm not happy anymore, well, I have to follow my happiness. And that's not really true for anyone, right? The goal when you're actually happiest is not when you're trying to get happier. It's when you're actually doing for other people. And so as husband and wife, it can be like a really good dance, right? Where as a man, my job is to lead in the dance, but not because I want to power over you, because we're both going in the same direction. And then as the dance partner, you actually want to follow in the dance because you know the direction that we're headed. And so it's a partnership. Now, I would say that Angie doesn't enjoy that in dance. She wants to lead, right? We go back to
I'm not really that great at that.
If we go back to our first
Use a different analogy.
Our very first date, and I wanted a two-step. She struggled because she wanted to lead. So that's a joke, inside joke. But at the end of the day, that does make sense to me, right? In a green light relationship, each person is willing to die to the other person because we both know that we have a common goal in mind that we're working to reach. And that is a life that doesn't always mean happiness, as you and I know right now, but it's a life well lived together with a focus on Jesus that's going to teach our children and grandchildren, and for you, probably great grandchildren, because you're healthier than me, And so that's what we're trying to lead towards. And that's a green flag, is when you can die to yourself for the other person, and the other person knows that, I know you would die to yourself for me, and you know that I would die to self for you. And that's green flags in a relationship. It's so easy, right? When you think about it, you hear the red flags and the selfishness, but you don't turn it around and go, oh, I need to die to self to be a green flag. Because that's the hard stuff.
That's another one I wrote down as I was thinking through this, is selfless. Like being able to think about the other person all the time, the kids, your partner, being able to put everyone else's needs above your own.
Well, I mean, you've done that since I've met you. That's what I've always said that drew me to you and made me love you so much, is how kind and giving and loving that you are. It's just the hardest time in your life right now. And I want to make sure that we give that back to you, whether it's me or the kids. Like we have to show up for you the way that you have always shown up for us. I think that's super important.
Yeah. And just loving someone through the hard times. Like I've never been through something like this, nor would I ever wish it on my worst enemy. But I know 100% that you love me, even when I'll get it out eventually.
A lot of tears in this recording studio tonight, even before we turn the mic on.
It's supposed to be something. We always do this. Like, I'm like, it's our anniversary. We need to, like, be uplifting. And then we just end up looking at each other and just bawling our eyes out.
I hope it's uplifting. I hope people find it that way.
But regardless of how unlovable I feel, vacant, to use Chase's term, I just know I trust you and I know that you're going to love me. And I think that's huge. I just never have to doubt or wonder if you're going to love me.
Sometimes it might be too strong.
Yes, you could sometimes dial it back.
It's an aggressive voice the kids talk about, I guess. But it's not, yeah. Well, I tell the kids this a lot of times when we pray, and I mean this. This family is the most important thing that has ever happened to me. And that's not just Angie. It's our whole crew. It's Hallie. It's Lexi. It's Carter. It's Chase. It's Summer. It's Dane. It's the 8 of us. And it is the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced in my life. And that's why the CrewVersary meant so much and does mean so much every year. And we talked last week about if we die, that's okay. And I do look forward to just being with Hallie and knowing what she knows and seeing what she sees and living a life that is so much better than what we live on earth. And one day I just hold on to the hope and the faith that our crew will all be together again, right? I mean, what a beautiful thing. As much as I love memory lane, when we first moved into this house, our crew together again in heaven, oh, that's the memory. That's the one that we're shooting for now. So when Angie and I are doing things together, and I referenced 5 minutes ago that as husband and wives are doing the dance of life and what that looks like, it's not a happy life, because on this earth we'll never have a fully happy life. We'll have happy moments, but it's doing the dance so that our crew, the 8 of us, and eventually grandkids and all of that, can be together again with Jesus in heaven. That's what we're living for. That's just it. I don't know any better way to say it. So those are just some green flags that I know, and I'm banking on getting us through, that they'll get us through these challenging times, because it's not unicorns and rainbows all the time. We're learning. And if I can be honest, it's almost unfair that for the first 3.5 years of our lives together, it was unicorns and rainbows.
It really was.
95% of the time. Yeah, the kids would fight, but it was God really blessed us. But I have to believe that he really blessed us because he knew the heartbreak that we were going to go through. And so now we brave that and figure out where we go. And that is just crew, as we've said, kind of starting over, rebuilding. You can't put pieces back together in something when Hallie's not here. There'd always be a friggin' hole. So it's like, how do we build as a family moving forward? And that's what we're doing. But we do want to reflect on what was such a beautiful day. And so for the last several minutes of the podcast, we just want to take you through a couple of the surprises that happened that day and then close with the vows that we made to each other, because they do ring true probably more now than they did when we made them just over 2 years ago.
Yeah, so we one of the surprises during the ceremony was we surprised the kids with vows to them.
And Hallie bawled her eyes out.
Oh, my gosh.
Which I love that we have video of it, because she...
Yeah, so our wedding video is out there on our website, Blended, Blessed, Always a Mess. There's a bunch of videos out there, but we put our wedding one out there and the...
It's like 5 minutes. It's not the whole thing.
7.
7, okay. 7 minutes.
7 minutes. We also have the kids' toast and everything out there, so you can see the video part of that. But
do you have the part where you got sang to?
Yeah, that video is also out there. If you would go check out our website, Eric Bremer,
sorry,
you would notice what's out there. So, the vows that we said to the crew.
Keep in mind, we chose to get married outside April the 3rd, which in Missouri could be good.
Could be bad.
Yeah. We got good.
It was windy.
But
the temperature
sunny
was good.
And 70-degree day. God blessed us that day. And so as we after we said our vows to each other, then we surprised the kids and stepped off the stage and looked at them and said, we have vows to each of you. And so this is what that sounded like.
Because our commitment was not just to each other. It was to the kids. Like, we got married to show them our commitment. So, hence the vows.
That was the only way I got Angie to marry me.
That's true.
Was to make it more about the kids
True
than
statement.
her and I. That's true. So we said to them, as we make this commitment to each other, we are also making a commitment to you. I promise to limit the use of my aggressive voice.
I promise to make sure we have all the right snacks in the house.
We promise to never quit on you or us.
We promise to create a home for you, a place to feel unconditional love, safety, and encouragement.
We promise to support your hopes and dreams, but also be the rock when life throws you a curveball.
Who knew that was going to be
the
biggest curveball ever? We promise to be fair, honest, and available to you whenever you need us.
We promise to love you.
Always.
And they were all crying. We were crying.
That was such
a beautiful,
special moment.
Beautiful part of our wedding. And then they decided to surprise us with toasts. They each made a different toast.
Yeah, we had no idea what they were going to say. And they were so good.
Yeah.
So good. So we'll play their toast right now.
So I did not prepare anything at all. So I'm just going to say that I'm super excited that you guys met and just love you both.
So much, and when I first met Angie, I think it was October 27th. I did my research correct earlier. Then she was the nicest person I've ever met. She loves others so much, and she's so caring and nice. And Dad, he took me to a Cardinals game one time. I was so bored, like I needed it. I was so bored. And there was a fly ball coming up our way, and he jumps up and he runs out, flex off a couple people's fingers, and comes right to me, and I grabbed it, and Dad was like, "Oh, you want to leave?" And I was like, "No, we're staying." And there was a rally cat, and it was awesome. So I love you both, and I'm so glad that you met each other.
This one's going out to Eric. Even though you're not my real dad, I know that you always care. Even with the little things, you let me know that you care. You have been there to help me from day one. It makes me happy to know that you are the one for my mom. You make me more confident in myself when I'm around you each day. And I quote, "You may not give me a life, but you gave me a better one." I never would have thought that I would have such a great stepdad in my life. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everyone. I'm Summer B. I'm the coolest one of the crew. Now, I'm not as comfortable as Eric with a mic, but I want to thank you all for coming tonight. But let's get this show on the road. When I first met Eric, I did not know my mom and him would build a house and get married, but I soon realized I was wrong. Not only did he come with his own unique personality, but he also came with 3 other amazing people. I did not know I needed 3 other siblings, but now I'm beyond grateful that they came into my life. Eric has not just helped me with sports and opened up so many opportunities, but he has made my mom the happiest person I believe she's been in a long time. It feels so good to know that I'm so lucky to have someone like him, and he and my mom will always be my #1 fan. To end this off, my mom, my idol, my mama bear, and my best friend. I'm so grateful that you added him back on Facebook, and you found someone special that makes you happy. So cheers to the crew and the newlyweds.
Got it. Dry the tears. Yes, I've cried a lot today, so for the few bits, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to make this short and sweet so we can get this party started. For those who don't know me, I'm Lexi Bremer, the second oldest kid of the crew, even if my height doesn't show it. And I'm so happy to be here today. In the last 1.5 years, I've never seen my dad as happy as he is now, and that's all thanks to Angie. Angie has the biggest heart and is one of the kindest people I know. She's taken me and my brothers in like her own, and for that I will forever be grateful. When Angie came into my life, she brought along 3 people that not only are now my siblings, but my best friends. Chase never knew it, but he always wanted a brother sister. And Summer and I had an instant bond to the point of tears being shed when we didn't see each other for a certain period of time. Then there's Hal, and her and I have had this conversation many times. But there was most definitely a higher up who knew that we needed each other as siblings and friends. Hallie and I have the same love for agriculture, the same fashion style, and the same weird personality.
You're doing good.
And the same weird personality. I couldn't ask for better best friends to do life with. So with that being said, thanks Nancy for changing my life for the better, and thanks Doback for finding her. So let's go ahead and toast. Cheers to the crew, the best dad and bonus mom, and all my shithead siblings and best friends. Okay, let me get my shit together. I'm choosing to marry to... Oh, shoot, wrong thing. So I'm Hallie. I'm the oldest. Save the best for last. I'm the oldest of the crew of Angie's kids. When I look at Eric and Angie, I see 2 people who brought together a whole crew. Who will always have each other's backs, will always love each other, but at the same time can bicker and argue till the sun goes down. There's never a dull moment at the house on Baxley Court. But at the end of the day, we can all sit at the dinner table and say how thankful we are for each other. My mom's taught me a lot. She's taught me how to be independent, chase my goals, breathe in the good shit, breathe out the bullshit, laugh at your mistakes and learn from them, and be understanding with yourself when it's your FFT, also known as first fucking time. Also, she taught me how to sneak past the security camera that's on the house when I wanted to go to a party in high school. She's inspired me and shaped me into the person I am standing in front of you guys today. Now that she's married Eric, there are 4 more people that I can love and learn from. Eric, Carter, Dane, and Lexi. Dane, you have taught me that even though your siblings drive you crazy, down in your heart, you can always find something sincere to say. Carter,
You've taught me that dedication to something that you love is one of the most important things in life. And I'm probably not going to make it through this long without crying. Lexi, you've taught me a lot about who I am and who I need to be. You taught me to love myself and to love all, and to have compassion towards those who have done me wrong. You taught me that sisters are the most important people that you can go through life with. And I know that I can always call you, and that you'll always be there for me in the crazy good times and the days that I need a shoulder to cry and lean on. Everyone help me toast Eric, Angie, and the step shits. I love you guys.
They're so good. That's so good. Like,
Still melts my heart.
I mean, it makes your heart smile, right? You have those moments in life where you feel your smile, your mouth smile, and then you have those moments where you feel your heart smile. And that was a heart smile moment for us.
And they were brave because even the little ones, to get up there and stand up with a microphone in front of 150 people.
Because twins were probably 12. Dane was 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they were young at that point in time. That was really good. Yeah.
Do you want to share our vows?
Well, I feel like we should, right? That feels like
renew them?
It feels like the natural ending. And one of those things where I have a feeling that as we read these to each other again, we decided to write our own vows. We've both been married. So we obviously have done the traditional vows. We know what that sounds like. This felt like we should personalize and make it about not just what our relationship had been, but what we were wanting our relationship to be. And so Angie and I decided to surprise each other with vows that we had written for each other. I'm going to go first because I did mine first at the wedding, and then I'll let you go second. Does that work?
Sure.
Angie, since the moment I met you, you've shown me real love and trust through your kindness, humility, and grace. And honestly, those traits remind me the most of our Savior, Jesus Christ, and the man that my father was and that I always aspired to be. Those traits have drawn me to you and continue to describe the commitment we've made to each other and to our kids to provide a safe and loving home. So today, I pledge before God to work my hardest to give you not only my love, but I also pledge to try my hardest to make you always feel at home through reciprocating your works of kindness, humility, clearly my strongest attribute.
Absolutely.
And grace. I pledge to love you the way we long to be loved in Christ, to forgive each other and lift each other up in good times and bad. I pledge to grow our marriage by listening and being the kind of partner who provides positive value to you daily. I love you. Commit to being your husband, partner, and best friend from now until we leave this earth. And she ended up marrying me. So
I did.
And then she just said, "You're pretty good," and that's it.
Mine are longer.
Oh, okay.
My vows are longer.
She's a better writer. Time out. Can I also say, here's what I love about your vows before we get there. I am much more on a regular basis sharing with you how much I love you and care about you and all. Like, that's more the way I reciprocate love. Like, I very much vocalize how I feel about you. Before she's like, you've already told me that you love me today. I'm like, well, I do love you. I don't know why is that wrong? That I can't say I love you more than.
Sometimes it's 10 minutes apart.
Well, I do love you that much.
Like, okay, I'll say I love you too, but like you just told me that 10 minutes ago.
So when Angie actually says these nice things to me, sometimes it does catch me off guard because it's not.
Because I mean it.
I mean,
like
it
I
doesn't.
told you all the time, wouldn't it feel like?
I think it'd be pretty great, but I guess. But in the meantime, I just take it when I get it. And when I get it, she does a very good job. Okay. So that's what I want to.
And I mean it.
Yeah. When she says that she loves me, it's very good. And in her vows, it was very positive. I mean, I cried because I didn't expect it to be this well written. So really good.
I love surprises.
Really good. So that's where we're at.
Poor guy. All right. You ready?
I can't wait to hear it.
Did you read them?
Yes, I reread it.
You did reread it?
I did. She thinks I never read the notes. I read her notes in entirety for the record. All right, here we go.
All right. I am choosing to marry you today in front of our closest friends and family that have been part of our lives through our journey to find each other. I had no idea when Facebook suggested you as a friend what was in store for me and my kids. I had everything I thought I needed. I had my kids, my job, and my house. When you showed up, I was scared, and I still get scared. That's actually still true today.
Is it really? Wow.
The walls were up, and as a close friend said, you don't just have concrete walls, you have brick behind them. But you, Aric, you showed up and busted them down, and I am so grateful for your persistence. We, Hallie, Chase, Summer, and myself, we all needed your faith and your love, and sometimes tough love, your time and your willingness to show up for us. Your 3 kids, Lexi, Carter, and Dane, are more than bonus kids to me. You are all missing pieces to our puzzle. And it takes such a beautiful soul to heal a heart that you didn't break. That is so true right now, too. And to help raise kids you didn't make. And you have my heart, and I'm yours for the rest of my life. You didn't break my heart right now, and you're still trying to fix it.
Before we came on, I was like, you can't fix this.
I know, because I see you trying all the time. And I'm like, yeah. Aric, I promise to communicate even when I want to shut down. That's still true today. I promise to load the dishwasher from the back to the front. That's no longer true. I just don't load it. I got to work on that one. I broke that promise. Shit. I promise to love you through the hard times and soak up every second of the amazing times.
Didn't know how that was going to work.
Yeah. I promise to never give up on us and to always want the best for you. I promise to protect us and our crew. I promise to not take you for granted and ensure you understand your true value. You still struggle with that.
I do, yeah.
I promise to be true to you. I promise to walk in faith with you. And I choose you for the rest of my life.
You did a really good job.
Yeah, you did too.
Made me feel really loved.
Maybe you should reread those every once in a while.
Or you could just say
I
them.
just don't make shit up.
Maybe you could record them.
That's too many words.
You can record them.
Okay.
And then you can just send me an occasional email with the recording.
All right.
Here's what I'm thinking today.
I'll just make one video and just resend it, everyone. Like I'll resend it every day. You would like that, and I would think that would be annoying.
Okay, Miss Concrete with brick walls behind it. Yes. All right. No, I like that. Our wedding day was much longer and much more beautiful, but those are the highlights that I think are important in talking about green lights and green flags in a relationship that you're entering into, or a relationship you're in, or a marriage.
Or things to focus on, right? If you're in a marriage and it's hard.
Yeah. That die to self. That's a key one. So many people fail because I want to be happy. And I should be happy. The world tells me that. Mm-hmm. And it's just
you
not
do
true.
you.
You do you. That's one of the biggest misleading things that we hear. And I can say that today because today is Easter Sunday, which in the grand scheme of all things, if you're a Christian, we celebrate Christmas a lot more than Easter, but Easter Sunday is actually a bigger day than Christmas because the entire reason that Jesus came on Christmas was for Easter Sunday. And nobody held Jesus on a cross except for you and for me. I mean, when you actually think about that, at the end of the day, he willingly stayed on a cross for me 2023 years later, however many years it is, knowing that he needed to save me. And he needed to save you and Hallie and everybody else. Whew, you can be Hindu, you can be Buddhist, whatever it is that you believe in. Nobody else died for you. Jesus died and chose to so that we could spend an eternity with him. And so that has continued to be our hope over the last 4+ months. And on this day where we talk about how we try to learn to love each other, and a lot of it is die to self, it's appropriate that Jesus died for us. And that's what we celebrate on Easter Sunday. And I am super grateful for the grace that he has shown me in my own life and the way that he continues to show up for us and know that Hallie's with Jesus in a much better place than we are. So I love you. It's been about 10 minutes since I said that.
Oh my gosh, I was wondering. And I love you too.
And I appreciate that. And we do appreciate all of you listening at home. I hope that you have a great Easter and get to spend some time with your families. Maybe it's later in the week that you're listening, and I hope that you're having a great week. But if I could just end today's episode with one overall overarching message, it is that I struggle with this, it is that you are loved by a God who knows the worst about you and has chosen to love you through that. And that's truly what it should be like in your relationships. That green flag is that even when it's not going well, you continue to be loved through it, as we talked about earlier. And the same with our kids when they're struggling, that you continue to love them through it. And that is the message that Jesus gave us on the cross on Easter Sunday. Happy anniversary to my gorgeous, beautiful wife. Hope you have a great week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Blended Blessed and Always a Mess. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and at blendedblessedalwaysamess.com.
Reach out to us on any of our social channels. We would love to hear from you. Have a great week.